What is up, good people? Oop, make sure this thing is not right. What is up, good people? Give it a second for people to tune on in. What is up? All right, I think we're good. Let me know if you can hear me and see me. Make sure that's all working. I think we're good. Yes. What is up, my people? Hanging out for a little bit, post Halloween and all that good stuff. So hope everybody's safe. Hope everybody is well. Gearing up for November, just like that. Crazy. Where is the time going? All right, let me switch this. My brother, I see greatness in you. Hope everybody's doing well. Just popping in for a little bit. Posted some things. Got Rolling Thunder coming up this weekend. So we're going to go to DC, support them, see what they're up to. But a lot of good stuff that is on the way. So putting some good vibes out there. Hope everybody's doing well. My Adidas, indeed. That is the mode that we are on, my brother. How you holding up, man? It is good to see you. We see greatness in you, my brother. You've seen some stuff we've put up from time to time, coming at us all the way from the West Coast. He is amazing. Good folks, man. Look him up. We see greatness in you is the username. You'll see him all over social. And the biggest thing is seeing greatness. So, good brother that we met over at the Big Three. So looking forward to next season. Some cool things going on there. But yeah, support him. He's doing some amazing things on his side. So want to give him a shout out. But man, that is what it's all about. We are live on TikTok. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and X, aka Twitter. So hope everybody is well. Hope everybody's well. Let's see, when's the last time? Yesterday? Day before yesterday? Yeah. Yeah. Rehabbing, coming off of this, whatchamacallit? That's always nice. But yeah, coming at this from getting back over a shoulder pec tear, so working through some of that stuff there, but we're pretty good. So gonna hang out for a little bit, answer some questions. Hope everybody's well. Excited for the things that we have going up this weekend. We have Rolling Thunder, so I'll be sharing some of that. This Wednesday night we are doing Ace Your CMP, so that's going to be the topic of discussion for that there. Let's see. Yep, I did ask indeed. My brother Clausa, how you holding up? We got Navy in the building, 88 to 92. Hope that you are all well. The month is coming to an end just like that. November's kicking in, so make sure you open your intent to file. Make sure that you are on top of your things that you're doing as far as your claim is concerned, because guess what? We're already in November, just like that. So let me know your branch of service, years that you served, if you were in service. If you have a loved one that served, let me know their time too. Family and dependents are also welcome. So always want to give them a shout out for sure. But yeah, hanging out for a little bit, answer some questions. Let's see. Signs, just in my CMP exam, was so nervous. Your videos have helped me a lot. Awesome. What was helpful to you? Always like to know things like that, specifically for you, just to make sure, I try to make content different ways. So some of the different things that I do, they vary. Some stuff is like tongue in cheek. Some stuff is just lightheartedness. I'm not really like, I need to do different things, right? So even like today, we're just run DMCing it up or DPing it up. Run DMP. Let's see. I get hives and I get cold. Is that something I should go to the doctor? It depends, right? So you can have a lot of things, but how are we going to claim back to service? So that's the biggest thing, for sure. What's up, Jack, my brother? I look like Eminem from The Boys. Yeah, yeah. I have a little hat and everything. So we were literally doing like the little, little thing right there. So that was the whole thing for my brother Terrence. You see it. but I wasn't trying to walk around with glasses all day and whatnot. So that was the vibe for the evening. But I did put up my service dog as well. He was hanging out today, so that was pretty cool. I got him actually our bivouac chain, so that's actually pretty funny. Let me actually put it on the screen. I'll show it to you. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Little Run DMC action. Better half. She was rocking the salt and pepper, so that was pretty dope. Let's see if I could put it over here actually. So this is dun, 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 dun. Let me see if I could bring Legend up. Yeah, so there you see a little Legend action behind me there. I think so. I could probably, let me see if I can move him up. Yeah, we were rocking a little bit of that, so that was pretty dope. Let me see if I could zoom on in. Let's try to do a landscape so you can be able to see it different ways, but yeah, let's see. Where is... Yeah, not sure if I could actually show it, but he's like right there, and he has a little bivouac, there it is, chain. So that was him rocking some of that. Let's see. But yes, indeed, got my C file. However, missing current exams. Can I reorder another one via FOIA? Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. Shout out to you, Kalian. Shout out to you. Let's see. Okay. Let me see. Appreciate you. Yeah, that's a little Legend action there. So have him in the background there. Let me see some more questions that we got. You will not get your rating until you get out. Correct. If you're ETS, and that is correct. Let's see. Air Force in the building, 99 to 14. Shout out to you. Did I mess up by doing a FOIA claim while waiting on my compensation? Nope. One thing doesn't affect the other, so you're fine. CMP Tuesday, don't have a clue what to say. What are you filing for, Paul? Did I need to explain what pain I have at the worst compared to how I felt that day? It's overall science, so it's not that day. It's not, you're not being rated off that day. It's everything all together. So it's just more bigger picture. But it's a great point, great question for sure. Navy 12 to 16, 90%. What's going on, Sketty? Shout out to you. What's up, everybody else? Yes. Yeah, hanging out for a little bit. Like I said, answer some questions. So for Halloween, I'm a sea turtle because I got a straw. Well, there you go. I got that. Appreciate you, Lexi. Had a CMP today. Through your health. Went really well. Compassionate examiner. Was seen for increase for allergic rhinitis, migraine secondary to tinnitus, sleep apnea secondary. Appreciate all the helps and tips. Awesome, man. You're very welcome. Canned. 1111. Awesome. Now, and I like to hear things like that too, right? Like positive things that do happen in these sessions and things like that. So I'm glad that worked out positive for you, because sometimes, sadly, you know how it is. We just kind of have a lot of bad instances where, you know, folks just have a bad experience. So yeah, but I'm glad. I am glad. Let's see. Actually, I think I actually sent the wrong one. Hold on now. That explains it. Let's go for this one. I was trying to zoom in and actually show Legend in the background, and I actually ended up putting the wrong thing up. So let me correct that. Okay, let's see. There you go. So yeah, little legend action there. I think you should be able to kind of see his little, like, oh, why me? And he has a little bivouac thing that we got him there. So his little chain as he rocks that. So there's a little of legend action as he wonders why him. Yeah, so there's legend. Bum 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 bum. Let me see if I can actually minimize this. There you go. And let's do it this way. So I'll hang out with Legend for a little bit, even though he's knocked out right now. But so there's that. I can't say Rodrigo. Let's see. Eczema, I'm already diagnosed. When I go to CMP, must have an outbreak. No, you don't have to have that. No, you have to have your medical records to show that. So no, you're not gonna give yourself an outbreak to do that. No, that's not how that works. Let's see. 60% rated. Working on filing again. Okay, what are you gonna file again? Specifically. But check. Okay, let's see. But that's Legend and is pendant from our bivouac team. But this is what we're talking about this week. We're doing specifically Acer CMP Wednesday night. So if you have CMP coming up, I'd love to see you there on Wednesday night. I'm gonna put myself right here next to Legend so you can see him too. There you go. See, win-win. Win-win. Migraines and PTSD eczema. Check. Okay. Very good. Let's see. Okay.
Are you meeting?
Yes.
Okay, can we use the massage gun?
Yes.
Okay, where's the push-up board?
Downstairs.
Oh.
Let's see. CMP exam that I have. More neuralgia, helix. Can I claim those issues secondary? Yeah, but you're probably going to need to have a Nexus Lab to help make the argument for that. So you can. Like secondaries, again, once you have something service connected and it causes something else. So I have a left knee problem. My right knee's acting up. So my issue now, my argument now is my right knee has got worse because of this condition. That's a valid argument, but a Nexus letter does help to help make that connection. So secondaries, people sleep on them a lot. So I would definitely say that's one way to go. Check on migraine and eczema. Okay. But how are you going to connect that though? That's the question then. How are you going to connect that to service? Did you complain in service? Is secondary something else? Exposure, right? Just because you have something, that's only one part of the argument. Actually, let me see. I could probably bring it up here. We just did Acer CMP. No, that Acer CMP is coming Wednesday. Last week, this week just passed. Yesterday, yesterday, we did navigating VA claims. So let's see. I want to say we could do it this way. There you go. So this is, I think, is pertinent, and I covered yesterday actually. So this is a good thing to look at, especially when we're looking at disability claims. This will kind of give you a framework of kind of what we have to understand. you have a current diagnosis, check, but what is the in-service event or stressor and the medical nexus? How are we connecting those, right? So those are some things that we have to consider for service connection, right? When it comes to breaking down the VA claim process. Again, I covered this this week, yesterday. Next week, next Wednesday, we're doing ACE Your CMP. So that's the exam. That is the class we're doing. Specifically, that's a breakdown, who we are, what do we do. We're talking about, what is a CMP, what to expect at a CMP, what not to expect at a CMP, bad exams, preparation tips, and then we do a Q&A. So it's always a Q&A whenever we do classes, but that's this Wednesday coming up at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard. But specifically towards this here, when we're looking at making a claim for service connection, you want to make sure these things are in place. Let me try not to zoom in too much so you can see it. Yeah. So make sure you have these things in place, and whatever's missing, that's what we have to work on. So you don't have a diagnosis, get to the doctor. You don't have in-service event or stressor, doesn't necessarily mean you have to have it documented, but you need to be able to point to something, building that argument. And if something's missing, obviously that medical nexus is going to help connect those two things, right? So that's something to keep in mind. So yeah, we could look at it like this, like I call it like little flying DP. So you need to have one of these, pop, 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 to then have this pointing back to, and the longer between these two, the stronger that the medical nexus must be. And that has been Flying DP for your amusement. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. Let's see. What's everybody else up to? Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I like streaming for the desktop because I can bring things up like this. It's just a problem. They actually throttle it down because you're streaming. So, feel free to hit that like button and give some thumbs up because it kind of helps the algorithm, right? So that's one thing I would ask. Because I'm always curious to see how this actually pans out. But I know for a fact that they throttle it down when I do stream from the desktop. So it's just the way it kind of works. But for the TikTok crew, definitely feel free to hit that thumbs up like to see if that helps, push the live out as we do some Q&A here. What's going on to the Twitter crew? Those on Twitter, hope you are well. X, I can never get over that whole Twitter X thing. Like I just always confuse and mix those up, but nonetheless. But yeah, that's the plan of action. But yeah, appreciate the likes and the thumbs up on the TikTok side. Because again, I find that it does like suppress it because I'm on the desktop versus on the phone. So it's just, it is what it is. But I appreciate that, the shares and the likes. The dog, yes, that's literally the dog. And as you see there, that was us earlier as we were going back old school hip hop with my little inflatable boombox. Dun, 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 dun. I have my CMP in 2 weeks for somatic symptom disorder. Could they rate me for anything other than that? Potentially, they can. But how are you arguing the somatic symptom disorder? And again, also just with disclaimer, sometimes I have folks that, they're either working with us or we've been in communication, but I don't recognize you because of your username. So I always kind of ask because sometimes I'm like, folks are like, oh, it's me. I'm like, oh, sorry, I didn't know because of the name, right? Yeah, somatic symptom disorder, that is a valid claim for sure, mental health claim. So let me know how that is being argued. Definitely would love to know some of that. But it's all symptom based for that conversation though. That is a all symptom based thing because we're talking mental health, which I'm sure you're tracking. So let's actually jump over to the CFR. Specifically, actually, let me move this out the way so this doesn't get in the way. How much disability percentage equals? So that's not how it works. So when it comes to percentage wise, it really is not that, because if you have one rating at 100%, it's just 100% for that one rating. If you have a rating for, let's say 50%, let's just say, 50%. So you have 100% is not rated, right? Just to make it simple. So 100% is not rated. And actually, I think I probably do it this way because I did a video before, but I'll do this again this way. Let me see something. I want to make sure. Yep, and then yeah. So I just wanted to, but yeah, as far as the VA math is concerned, it's a great question. If you're not rated at all and you have 100% rating, you just go to 100. If you're not rated at all and you get a 50% rating, let's say for sleep apnea, 50% of 100 is 50. You have 50 left. Any new rating goes off the 50 that's left. So let's say you have another 50% rating for migraines. 50% of 50 is 25. 25 plus the 50 that is rated is 75. 75 is your new, raw score. That rounds up to 80. You have 25 left, right? And it keeps going that way. Let's say now you're at 90 and 10% is not rated. Any new rating goes off 10%. This is where VA math gets tricky because 10% tinnitus off 10% is 1. 1 minus 10 leaves 9. But that 1 plus the 90 that is rated is 91. Rounds down to 90. You have 9 left. What's another 10% of 9? 0.9. 0.9 plus 91, 91.9. You have 0.8 left, and it keeps going like that. So you need a high value claim to push you over. Now, let's say you have 90% and then you have sleep apnea at 50. 50% of 10 is 5. 5 plus 9, 95. You go to 100. So that's really what it is. So it's really one of those things where I wouldn't say so much it's a how much do you need, because it depends. Again, what are your ratings? What are you rated for? And that's the way it kind of tacks off at what is not rated, all right? So whatever you're rated, that goes off of the table. So you're rated 50%. 50% is not rated. Any new rating goes off that 50. A 10% off the 50, you do the math, add it to what is rated, and then what's left continues that way. So that's like a simple way to kind of wrap your head around that. We're at the CFR, specifically looking at the mental health criteria for the somatic symptom disorder question. This obviously is the rating criteria they're looking at. The biggest thing to consider here is they can diagnose something else if they see that you have that, but they're most likely going to rate you based off what you have. So that's one of the ways to kind of look at that. Yeah. So but once you understand that's why it's very key and important to know if you're going to file a claim, right, that you get strategic with it, right? So it gets harder as you get rated up, as you move up in the rating criteria, because now you need a high rating, a high value rating claim to move that rating rather, right? So sometimes people are, filing for things that don't add up to much. Well, guess what? Now you're stuck at, at 80 and you're going for like little 10% here, 10% there. Well, yeah, when you do the math, you're like, I'm 240%. It's because the way it's not an addition thing, right? It's a percentage conversation. But that's kind of how that would look at. So look at where you're at right now and then consider what are some things that are high value, claim to focus on that. Should I focus on, this 0% potential rhinitis, sinusitis, or maybe does that give me a secondary for migraines, right? So you have to look at how you would go about those things. But you are very welcome. Great question though. Great question. Someone had asked a question just to kind of put in perspective. How much disability percentage equals 100% disability? And again, it really depends on the veteran's specific situation. But rating criteria there specifically for somatic symptom disorder, all mental health, those things have to be really looked at in great detail to make sure you're speaking to the symptoms, right? That's one of the biggest things, which we're covering this coming Wednesday, right? So that's the focus for this coming week, specifically looking at acing your CMP. So that's the focus for this Wednesday. So feel free to get that information because that is what we're going to be focusing on if you have a CMP coming up. Link in my bio has all the information, so you're more than welcome to join us. Let me see, where is... I was looking for something. See if I can find it. Dun, 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 dun. And more so to make sure folks know how to get to it. So if you go to the link in my bios, you will see here where you can sign up for all those things. So jump on the mailing list. That's some good information there. One of the biggest ones for those that are transitioning, check out the BDD checklist that's there as well. So you can go ahead and kickstart that separation process. We have a PDF as well. It's pretty good. Go get that mental health secondary claims. Jump on that. It's pretty awesome. A lot of good stuff there. Navigating VA claims. We just did that this week. Next week, we're talking HRCMP. So that link in bio has all that information. So go check that out. Okay, let's see, make sure that I'm tracking with all of the questions. But yeah, if you have some questions, feel free to pop them in. Hanging out for a little bit, and then we'll start shutting it down. But let's see, using service connected disability to push for somatic symptom, all affect me every day. Are you ready for something mental health? That's a question then. Do you have a current rating for anything mental health related? Best advice for those? Honestly, best advice off the rip, I would say for sure, get the BDD checklist. That's the first thing. I would really encourage you to check out the course we put together. And I like it a lot, and I actually will show it to you here since I can actually bring that up. So let me break that down. No current mental health rating yet. Check. What them feet do, doggy? Let me I'm just gonna log in. So I want to actually show you the BDD thing, so you can kind of see a little of what it actually looks like. Okay, check, got it. So this is, when you hit the link in my bio, it'll take you there. But this is what the actual course looks like, just to kind of give you a preview, which I like that. No, just literally, I was wearing a hat, so it's kind of pressed down. Some questions online are real weird. I don't know why that would be a thing, but I was wearing a hat, so let's see. But yeah, so this is just a breakdown of what you can see. So I like this because if you're transitioning, it gives you the ability to go through this at your own leisure. Videos and all that stuff is in there as well. So intro to BDD claims, gathering records, evidence, and you also have the information there. So it's not just like, just words or PDF and stuff, but I'm actually breaking it down. So you have that too in video format. You can go through it on your own, and then, tips, different things, resources, lay statements, samples, links, and where to get things like that. So all that stuff is there as well. So you have that here. So I like this because if you're leaving service, again, you can take your time, presumptive list, a rating criteria, things that I'm bringing up, right? Like, where do you find these things? What are these forms, et cetera, et cetera. And as I add new things, that'll pop up here too. You have the ability to comment, ask questions, and send us messages there. So I would highly encourage you to check out these navigating BDD claims. Your transition roadmap, go through at your own leisure. You have time. It explains a lot of good stuff. I'm going to add a module in there for med boards. So that's what I would say for sure as far as the BDD advice. So check that out. But yeah, that's what I would say. Check on no mental health criteria yet. Like a mental health CMP, I like to think I'm an expert. Good stuff. I like that, Adam. Yeah. There's always something new. So like I said, I've been in this space for many years now, and even then there's always something that happens, something that's new that for sure will help people. But all right, let's see. PTSD. Okay, let's see where we're at. What's up, everybody? Those joining in, let me know what branch of service you were in and the years that you served. PTSD 70% alone. Should I try for an increase? Total is 80. So that's gonna be tricky, right? So it's not impossible to get an increase, but you have to really hit the symptoms for that increase. So it's not something that happens too easy, but you may have secondaries and other things you could potentially look at. Can you have a re-rating and go to ROTC after getting out? That's gonna be tricky, Mateo, because they may have some things that may stop you there. PTSD, MDD, Estelle, check. High-level review was remanded back to original office. Is that a good or bad? Not really. It's just, it means they may have to look at some stuff, rework some things. So it could be good, but it really just means more work needs to be done. Question, how long does your claim stay in step 5 typically? It really depends. The backlog is insane right about now. There's a difference for med board. Basically, there potentially for some could be a situation where medically you can be retired and things like that if you meet that criteria. Army 5 years. Shout out to you. Okay. Yes. Good questions though. I'm 9%. Is there a company I should use to assist me getting a PTSD? So there might be an argument there, Monty. I'd say, hit the link in my bio, have a conversation with one of my advisors. So that would be one way to look at that. My organization, pretty biased, right? I think we're the cat's pajamas. So if you ask me, I think we're the best. But yeah, but again, understanding like, hey, what are you trying to do? Which way to go about it, etc. So different ways for sure. Let's see. Dun 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 dun. Where is? Alrighty. Let's see. Any other questions? Feel free to pop those in. Let's see who we have. What do we got on the? Okay, got it. Good there. How long does the VA take to give ratings? Did the med board from the Army? CMS Step 5. It really depends, honestly, because the backlog is pretty insane right now. So there's just a lot of moving pieces when it comes to that. But it really depends, honestly. I mean, you could stay on a step for a while. Again, those things are happening as you exit as well. So not too crazy, sadly. Being on step for a little bit. Check it out. Had numerous buddy statements. Great CMP still somehow ended at 90%. And again, that's where it comes down to looking at options and how to better maneuver right going forward. So if it means again, if it's a conversation and you're kind of on the path, we'll let you know. But maybe connecting you with certain medical providers, maybe the certain secondaries, maybe some other things to look at. So having those buddy statements and all that great CMP, that's only one thing, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go to the 100, right? Have to look at everything holistically, right? So that's one of the biggest things. Yeah, well, some BSOs don't have access to BVMS, so I wouldn't say fire them because some of them don't have access to be able to pull things. So that's also, gotta be careful there because not everybody has access to the system depending on where they work. Yeah, these are the things that I will literally cover on class. So, and that's why it's context. So that's why, I like to teach these classes live. I think there's context that needs to be given. So if I'm talking about, hey, bad CMPs, how to go ahead and complain, etc., sometimes people don't know how to do something. So, someone might say, hey, do this, and they just completely fuck that all up because they don't know what they're doing, right? How do we identify bad CMP exams? How exactly are you going to complain? How to push back, etc. That's going to be a big thing. I hate to suggest ranking because don't do that thing. No, sorry, no. I don't suggest that at all. Again, those are bad. So I get that, but again, I can't say that with my platform. That would be very careless of me to tell someone something like that, right? Because you go into an exam inebriated, you're missing the whole point, sadly. And then on top of that, you fuck around, you're driving and get into an accident. I mean, like that's just no. We got people with actual problems. Some people are alcoholics, and it's just Pandora's box. So I would never even suggest it or say that. So wouldn't say that. Parents, be careful because they can. Yeah. Let's see. Would you say the free call is provided? So do that one-on-one with you. Yeah. Like for mines, it's more like I said. I'm talking a lot to like transitioning service members. I'm also looking at potentially people who are BDDing too. So it's for those that may need it. But my crew is also solid. It's just my schedule is very limited, and some folks that's all they want. That's all they may need. So that's an option there for those that have asked for it. Yeah, but I say no, talk to one of my crew. They'll be able to give you options, explain things. It's just some folks just really want to go deep down, the rabbit hole or get my perspective on something, especially like the transitioning folks and things like that. So that really varies. Sure, no, for sure, Adam. You're very welcome. Better way to open up. I stopped drinking 9 months ago. Dad drank before. Yeah, but again, that's where I go back to this thing. Like I treat claims very strategically. So I have folks that come to my classes all the time, and it takes time for people to kind of really open up to understand how to talk about these things. It takes time. It takes work. So repetition, it goes into a part. We live a long time post service, bottling things up, and not really opening up about things. So how do we actually open Pandora's box? How vulnerable are we talking about? So like there's things I can't talk about here online because community guidelines. If I talk about not wanting to be around anymore, right? The depths of depression, darkness, detachment, right? Becoming statistics, things like that. That's a little too much, right? So I start talking about those things. I get freaking strikes on social media. So it's one of those things where, being able to really have a conversation and get a veteran to understand, hey, what exactly does it mean to peel back the onion layer? That goes a long way. Germany. Yeah, yeah. So one of the biggest things I still on my side is my crew is like all over the country, so we adjust our schedules. I teach my classes late for that purpose, right? I do things like this late on purpose for that. So, yeah, yeah, for sure. I was at National Guard struck to find evidence for my low back pain. What happened, Keem? In specific, was it an accident? Do you have an LOD? I'd be curious to find out about that. Barbara DX eczema. Do you know if it's able to get connected secondary or reviews on that? So we're connected for that or PEB diagnosis. Do you know if this is able to be connected? Yeah, that could be a secondary for sure. But again, the shaving profile piece, that's pretty straight to the point there. So it might, an opinion may help, colossal for sure. As far as like if there's other things that may have caused the eczema too, or if it's localized to that location specifically, or that kind of exacerbated or has aggravated it, So there's an argument. Was in Puerto Rico and there was no power for months, so no. Oh, check. Any buddy statements, witnesses, people that were around? That's a question to look at too. Yeah. Again, for those tuning on in, this Wednesday night, we are acing your CMP. That is the subject matter that we are hitting. So definitely want to make sure I kind of highlight that as the subject matter for this week coming up. Rolling Thunder, that's going down this weekend, so I'll be actually there in DC with them, so that's going to be cool. So I'll share some of that stuff when I get there. But who we are, what is a CMP, what to expect for a CMP, what not to expect, bad CMPs, preparation tips, and then I'll do a Q&A. So about 45 minutes to 55 minutes of class, and then an hour of Q&A until you're blue in the face. So that's kind of how I run these. Yesterday we had navigating VA claims specifically. So that was yesterday's class. So that'll come back in 2 weeks, where we'll kind of go back over that. So for not this Wednesday, but the following, and my link in bio, you can sign up for these things. For the next one, breaking out VA claims, how we help veterans overcome some of these challenges and whatnot, if our services are for you or not, and then a Q&A. So every session I do is always a Q&A that I do, but just wanted to at least highlight that for those tuning on in. But yeah, that's what's going on this Wednesday. And also for those transitioning service, check out the BDD course because it's a cat's pajamas. All right. I'm going to start shutting it down here in a little bit. Just want to kind of pop in and hang out for a bit. So if you have questions, feel free to throw those in to get to you. And if I don't see your question, I promise you, it's been stripped. So be careful. Sometimes, even on social media, I'll get messages that certain comments were stripped, so I won't see them. So I'm not, breezing over stuff. I just want to make sure that people know that, because sometimes folks, they think that I'm kind of ignoring them, and I'm like, I didn't see what you typed, because you said you typed something that triggered off the system. Let's see, PTSD 70%, working on sleep apnea secondary, IBS 0. Submitting for hire. I think I have one of the more deadly presumptives. Okay. IBS 0, submitting for hire. Okay. Yeah, if you're at 0, they increase their symptom, so that should be a good argument there. And okay, check on the presumptive. Good. Alrighty, let's see. But those are some of the things I wanted to at least pop in and just kind of cover a little bit, just kind of answer some questions, see how everybody's doing as this month kind of draws to a close. So East Coast, out of the house, we're already coming into November, which is crazy. So just like that, November, just like that. So go figure. Make sure you open your intent to files. That's one of the biggest things that I would definitely highlight, because you'd be surprised how many folks don't start that clock. It may take you time to get around to actually find the claim, but definitely. But I appreciate y'all hanging out for a little bit here. Again, class is Wednesday. Wanted to make sure I kind of hit on that. But yeah. Make sure you're following across social, same username across the board, Veteran DP. And I think that's pretty much all the questions. Do one quick look around, make sure if anybody has anything there. But okay, let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, I think we're good. All the questions, make sure we get everybody else. But I appreciate y'all hanging out for a little bit as usual. Answer some questions, hanging out. Shout out to the IG crew, Facebook crew, the YouTube crew, the TikTok crew, as we hang out for a bit, answer some questions. But how long should I wait to file for an increase? There really isn't a wait period if you can justify the increase, right? If something's got a whole lot worse, you can argue that. So there isn't like a rule of like you have to wait. That's not really a thing like that. Because you could, have a disability, it takes to be a year to get back to you, and it's got worse, a year to 2 years later. So it's a great question, actually. But no, it really depends. What are you looking for an increase on, right? When did you get rated? Those are things to look at. And if there is room for an increase, because some conditions, like if you have tinnitus, there's no increase to tinnitus, right? 10 is 10. But there may be other things to file, right? So I would look at that. 10% for the knee, but I feel they should have been more. So that's range of motion. So the most common degree of disability, sadly, when it comes to musculoskeletal conditions, is actually 10%. So I know that sometimes throws you off because people are like, wait a second, it should be higher. And I'm tracking with you there. But sadly, that's actually not the way it goes sometimes, because of the fact that, it's musculoskeletal. There's a lot of other factors involved there. So, I hate that that's what happens sometimes, because, again, you have an argument as to, hey, meniscus tear, but again, range of motion is kind of a big thing there. But for musculoskeletal things, the most common degree of disability is 70%. And that actually throws a lot of people off. Let me see if I can pull that up. Dun, 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 dun. Where is my... Actually, yeah, I'm going to pull this up over here. So I think I'll be able to pop this on screen. You should be able to see that there. So let me go ahead and actually try to minimize this. I want to make sure that you can see it, so just give me a second. So this is, I've made some videos on this. I'm going to update it here soon too, but I wanted to at least highlight this. So when we're talking about like the common degree of disabilities, right? This is exactly what I mean. Actually, let me bring this to the front. So let's go flying DP style, right? So musculoskeletal, like that one right there. Boop, 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 boop. There you go. And the most common degree of disability is 10%. Again, not saying the average, but the most common. So I highlight that because understanding this, this gives you an idea of like across the board, this is what we see a lot of times. And mental health, as you can see, rates around 70, most common degree of disability. So, it's understanding, hey, what is the lay of the land? What are some secondaries? What are some other things to look at? Because it makes no sense sometimes. Like, how is it that this respiratory condition, the most common degree, is 0? Again, sometimes sadly veterans don't know what they don't know. So these are actual facts from the VA, which I think are helpful, right, to look at. So you have the meniscus for a 10% tear. But are there other things potentially that you can argue, right? Some secondaries. Did that cause other issues? How has that affected you from, a mental health perspective, right? And again, yeah, that's the point, right? Wow, didn't realize that. That's the point. Like, people don't know these things. So if you don't know, how do you effectively argue? So you're going to, go in circles, try to go for an increase. You're going to get denied, or they're going to say, you don't meet the correct requirement for, a higher rating there, but you could have been looking at other things potentially, or secondary. So this is where I talk about when it's like we have to understand how to be effective and how to have strategy to make these arguments, right? Because again, for a lot of veterans, you just don't know what you don't know, right? And that's what I was talking about a little bit earlier, specifically when it comes to making arguments and breaking down this process, right? So this is from yesterday's class, but when we're making arguments, right? Again, these are things people don't even know, right? You have to have a current diagnosis. I got denied. Why not? I thought the VA was just going to diagnose me at the exam. Have a current diagnosis. What are you pointing to in service? A medical nexus. The longer you've been out, the stronger that medical nexus needs to be, right? So these are things that, again, that's part of that whole let's have a conversation. We have to get educated how to be effective, not just, someone says do a thing. Well, how do you do that thing, right? So something to consider. 50 for the migraine, 30 for sinusitis, a few 10s, 80 total, but struggling. Yeah. And that's where it gets, again, enter that VA math. So if you're, let's say, a raw, 80, right? That's 20% left. So you need a high value claim to kind of move that. That's a big one. 11/5/24 will conduct CMP record review only for GERD, hoping they'll call me at least. No, they probably won't. If it's a record review, they don't need to call you for that. So that's kind of how that whole thing works as far as an ACE exam. They don't need to call you in for that because they have all the records that they need already. You're very welcome. So it's a little bit nerve wracking because you're thinking like, oh crap, they're not going to call me. What am I supposed to do now, right? All the things. But yeah. Alrighty. Let's see. Got that. Make sure that I got all those questions as they come. But yeah, so the more you know, that's the biggest thing, right? Education, the more you know, being able to answer some of these things. But yeah, keep getting denied, but I'm going to keep appealing. But even then, right, like let's appeal the right way. So sometimes it's not let's keep appealing, but like what are we appealing? How are we appealing it? Do we understand what we're doing, right? Because sometimes, you'll have veterans who keep appealing something and keep getting denied because some things may be missing or perspective. So get perspective, however you get it, right? Get a sounding board as far as like, hey, here's what I'm doing, here's what's going on. Does this make sense? Am I on the right path? Because sometimes you have veterans that'll be like, why have you been doing this? Because that's all jacked the hell up, right? So things to look at, right? That's why I would say, the classes we do, the links in my bio, have a call with one of my teammates, my team members, one of my advisors to kind of get perspective. Like that goes a long way because again, it's just sometimes you just need a sounding board. But having conversations like this, even like, again, I didn't know this. Now I do know this. Now I know what to ask, or at least I have questions to ask. Because I don't want you to spend, needless time appealing something the wrong way. Because again, sometimes you may be on the right path and it's just the VA got it wrong. Check. But other times, it may be other things at play. So for the transitioning service members, check out our BDD course. Again, for those folks there, wanted to highlight that. Website, links in my bio at veteransnetwork.club. And you'll be able to see all the things that we have there along the lines. Online classes, our live sessions and things we have there. So we have those things there. Check out the freebies that we have as well for the BDD checklist. That's free there as well as secondary mental health claims. So check those things. Look what we're all about. Take a look at us. Crazy concept. Unlike some other places, you actually hit the about us. You actually see who we are. So they're actual people behind the scenes. And I like that. I like the whole, like, we're actual people, not just, we're veterans helping veterans, but you don't even know who the fuck we are. But I'm not going to get on that soapbox today. Alrighty. Let's see. But, yeah, I think that's most of the alibis that we may have. So I wanted to at least show that for the common degree disability. So that was helpful to give you some perspective. Let's see. All the other questions I think we're good on. So yeah, good. But I appreciate y'all, like I said, hanging out for a little bit, ask some questions. Hopefully this was helpful. This week coming up, we are doing ACE your CMP, so looking forward to that. It's November, so open your intensive files, get ready, because again, the year is ending, and putting things off until tomorrow, then tomorrow never comes. Service event for headaches 30 years later. I'm currently diagnosed with headaches. Next is help. Let me see. What are you rated for? 30 years later. And again, even the whole 30 years later, I was literally showing a picture of one of my oldest veterans, actually. He was out for 50 years before he actually filed the claim. 50 years. And it's definitely possible. So I say that because, again, even in the grand scheme of time, 2 Army veterans there. He was rated, he was almost 80 by the time he filed his first claim, and he was successful. So that's one of my OGs there, our OG from our organization, Mr. Dennis. And I bring him up a lot because I think it's just pertinent for people to know that, hey, it is possible, especially we've been out for a period of time, again, 50 years. But to your point, you need a nexus, you need more medical evidence to connect things. So it's definitely possible for sure. But service event for headaches 30 years later, current diagnosis of headaches. So yeah, you got PTSD, so you can potentially argue that, not only back to service, but even as a secondary to the PTSD. So that's that's an argument for sure. That is an argument that can be made. De nada. But yeah, check the link in my bio. Set up a call with one of my advisors if you want to have a conversation. Because especially when like when Dennis's case, right? When you've been out for a period of time, you may need a little more than just, hey, try this, figure it out, right? A little more support, a little more hands-on. Check the website again at veteransnetwork.club. You can see kind of what we're all about. You speak Espanol, so literally check out the About Us, and you'll see even in there we have native speakers, right? So we got 2 Mexicans, 2 Dominicans on crew, nurses, retired folks. So, you kind of see a little bio of who are people there and kind of get familiar. Because the biggest thing is when we're talking about this concept of VA claims, I really want people to, it's about, feeling heard, feeling seen, and being able to know that, hey, how do I feel comfortable talking about these things, right? Opening up this box of things, not just a number randomly, right? So just some perspective. That's kind of why I like things like that. Let's see. Hey, Angel. Let me see your question here. Appreciate the likes and support and those things. Let's see. Where is... What am I looking for? Recent. Okay. Okay. Okay, breeding, DP, do your team service offer public DBQs for PTSD? I'm at 70% aggressive treatment, including CPT, looking for an increase. Yeah, I can connect you with some folks there, but honestly, really, it's the DBQ may for sure help, but it's really a thing of the symptoms, right? So I would for sure suggest ACEs in your CMP. You gotta do that for sure. Let's see, DP, what's up, DP? ¿Qué preguntas pueden ser comunes en migrañas? La frecuencia y la intensidad. That's the biggest 2 things, honestly. They'll ask questions like that to that effect of frequency and intensity. Is the biggest thing. Question was, what are some common questions that can come up on a CMP? Um, Thank you, Interrochun. Appreciate you. Gracias. Let's see. But yeah, for sure, got to stick to the CMP because even then, right, when we're talking about that, the DBQ may help, but you have to be able to speak to. Um, let's see, I didn't. Oh, and again, that's the whole point. Like I don't believe in the coach part, right? So it's not you need to be coach on the thing. Like you're fine, but that doesn't mean that somebody else doesn't know shit about fuck, right? When it comes to doing things, so that's the problem I think in this space, right? It's a lot of like, well, I didn't need a thing. I'm like, okay, well, some people naturally can shoot a rifle, some people can't. Some people need some more help with this, some people can't. So you know, what I mean, if it was something, you know, you were fine, that's fine, but that doesn't negate somebody else that may need something. So. Um, I think it's selfish to just think like just because I didn't need a thing. Like, okay, a lot of things make sense to me. They don't make sense to other people. Why can't people figure things out that I can figure out? That's callous to me. But Angel, specifically to you, right? The symptoms that we have to be able to speak to for you, right? You have to speak to the symptoms at the 100 and be able to speak to that and actually have proof as well to show things in your life. And that doesn't mean you have to have everything in the 100 either. So one of the things that I want to at least show here that I think gets lost too with people a lot of times is this, right? So there's this concept here called the, where is it? Oops, nope, don't want that one. The higher of two. And the higher of two specifically, yeah, no, and I'm not, you see me saying keywords, but but no, I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like a veteran's truth is a veteran's truth. So to Angel specifically, so the higher two evaluations, right? This is in CFR specifically. I'm mentioning this because the problem with a lot of veterans is you look at the rating criteria and you're thinking, I have to say all these things. That's not how that works, actually. It's more looking at, hey, what is the overall picture of where you're at, right? So if you're able to speak to those symptoms for sure. But it's more you have to be able to speak to that. So it's not, you know, a keyword thing. Like I don't necessarily like that because I think it's very misleading to the comment that was just made, obviously, as well. But these are symptoms such as, and I think people mistake that symptoms such as is not a keyword thing. So I don't believe in that. I think it's more a veteran has to understand how to speak to their truth. You understand what you're going through. You are in intensive, you know, therapy and things like that. So speaking to those things, what are some of these symptoms at that level that you're meeting, right? So DBQ publicly may help for sure because you're having someone assess where you're at. So not saying that that's not something that won't help, but I wouldn't bank on just that increase there because there may be other arguments to make somewhere else, right? So not very common for that to hit that way, but for sure, you know, it's about your symptoms and then also other things that you may have, right? But yeah, that's what I would say for sure as far as that's concerned. But I don't want to get folks locked into the, hey, I can just, you know, get this thing and do that thing. I know so many people who use keywords to get a diagnosis just to get a free paycheck. Again, I'm not blind to the space, and I don't know a few people. I know thousands of people because I do this, right? So I see everything, and people sometimes reach out, and you can tell when they're fishing, and it's like, look, you know, some folks will be like, so what do you think I should say? I'm like, I don't know. I don't do that. So like when I teach my classes, that's not at all the battle plan. You know what I mean? Like I specifically, again, we're talking about what is a CMP exam. We're talking about things to expect. We're talking about what not to expect. Bad CMP exams, what you should do if you have a bad CMP exam. Tips and preparation mentality, how to go into these things, and then a Q&A. But understanding there that it's really understanding, first of all, what is the exam supposed to be? What is expected of me? What should I expect of it? What did I need to focus on for myself and go from there? But there isn't a thing where like I say this, I get that. I don't like that. I don't believe in that keyword thing at all. I think that sets up veteran up for failure because I can speak as to what led to my divorce or what led to my unemployment or what led to my issues or my medical conditions, right? Like that's a very personal conversation that sadly when a veteran says, you know, I have this, it's like, what did you do so I could do that? I don't like that because I think it's very disingenuous. It comes across very not real. And these doctors and providers, man, they could pick that shit up a mile away. I'm glad you can Google things, but you can't give me an example of anything you're saying. You know what I mean? So we have to know, like, hey, we have to reset the conversation on how to, you know, be effective for this whole conversation of disability. So for sure, I don't subscribe to this like coaching a person on what to say. No, no, no. I think it's more so, hey, you know, being prepared to speak about things that we just don't know how to speak about, right? How do you open up when you've been putting things away for so many years when we don't talk about things? And I'm talking about those veterans that actually have that problem. So that's one of the biggest things there. Is that a real dog? Yeah, it's my service dog actually. It's just a still picture. Is that dog real? It's literally my service dog. Um, so yeah, but good points though. Let's see. Could notes in the medical records be considered a nexus? The notes discuss how secondary conditions is impacted. So, Lisa, it's a good question. I wouldn't say necessarily it's a nexus. It's adding, proof to your argument, but the nexus specifically is more making the argument as to the service connection piece, right? So there's a medical argument being made there, but that can help that, but it's not outright making the argument, right? Like if we're talking full blown nexus, right? It's someone actually giving an opinion saying, I have reviewed Lisa's records. In my opinion, I do believe that this in turn has caused that, right? So it's a very pointed thing. But those notes in there for sure can be used as proof to show, hey, look, this is actually correlating to this. But am I still making the argument for that service connection? So in this case, right, you have notes discussing how a secondary condition is impacted by a service condition. So I'm going to file for the secondary. I'm just making this up now, right? I might have this back pain. I've been taking these meds and it's causing me GERD or whatever. That language in there is showing that this in turn is causing or has made that worse. That's helping my argument there. I'm filing for it that way. It'll definitely help, but you want to make sure it's concrete, right? Like if it's only one line or two, you know what I mean? You want to make sure that you're giving them a lot of good things in there, right, to help the argument. But for sure, it can definitely help. El Machito, what's going on, my brother? But yeah, it's a great question for sure. I just want to make sure because for some people, it's like they may just hear like yes and they think, oh, I'm golden. It's like, no, that line in your records was not strong enough or was not thorough enough, right? But yes, it could definitely for sure, like if your records are littered with a lot of language like that, and it's very indicative that you have the diagnosis for a secondary, and it's very clear saying this has caused that, for sure. But just to give you context, right? Because again, somebody like for you, you're golden, but somebody else hears this and they're like, oh, look, one time I said this thing. I'm like, no, that's not gonna cut it. You need more, right? But yeah. And of course, having the diagnosis for the secondary condition, and then you make a statement too, for sure, as to how that affects you and really kind of speak to that. So just don't rely only on the language in the records, but also speak to the symptoms that you're experiencing from your perspective. So that's one of the biggest things sometimes is missing, right? Like how does it actually affect you, right? How is this condition, impairing me, so on? Because sometimes there is a connection there medically, but the veteran doesn't do the speaking to the impact and the symptoms, right? So they get connected, but it's very low because they never actually spoke to the symptoms. Like the migraine, we've established that this thing has caused headaches, but you never talked about the intensity and frequency, and that's how you're gonna get ready for the migraines. Just finished all mine for sleepwalking. Okay, getting med boarded. Gotcha. How long were you in? El Machito with the likes. Appreciate you, my brother. Hope you're well. How are you holding up? Yeah, if you guys have questions, pop them in as I start to wrap here. But those jumping in for sure, let me know the branch of service years you were in this Wednesday night coming up. HRTMP is the class that we have going on, so check that out. The link in my bio will take you to all the things there. So check those things out. Transitioning folks, check out the link in my bio. There's a lot of cool stuff in there, so make sure you check those things for sure. Link in my bio has all the links on how to find all the things there, so check those things out. This weekend it's Rolling Thunder, so I'm going to be down there in DC for that, so I'm looking forward to speaking to that organization about veteran benefits, so that'll be cool. Let's see, trying to connect it to anxiety, but I only have one time in my medical record where I went for anxiety. But you're transitioning, so you're still in service, are you? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's that. Yeah, if you're still in service transitioning, the argument's a little different than someone who's been out of service. So, if you are still in service and you have diagnosis and you're exiting, you're being med boarded, whatever the case may be, you can bring these things up. The argument is much more, it's not easy. It's just easier than if you've been out. Because yes, if you've been out and you only got seen once or never got seen, then much difficult, more argument there. But as you're transitioning out, these things are being, brought up while in service. You have a stronger piece to do there. So do Brasil. What's going on, my brother? Kelvijo is in the building. I'm from Brazil. Muito obrigado. Let's see. Appreciate you, Juan. Thanks for the share. Calvino is in the building. Our brother from Brazil. Brasileiro. Using a translator to speak. Love it. I'm not about keywords. Symptoms, 2 years unemployability, socially isolated. Yep, 100%. That's the biggest thing. So you get it, Angel. But sadly, the problem is, how it is, right? When, folks make comment on different things. So right now we're live on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So if you see me kind of reading stuff like where it's coming from, it's because I'm reading from different places. But the biggest thing for me, no falo português. Just a few words only. But a lot of folks will hear things or say things, and it's like, you're at 70. That argument for the increase is much more difficult than people expect. And keywords is when people think like, say these things, or like go, like someone said, like go and, get drunk and show up to your CMP. Don't do that. Or commit yourself to don't do that. Like, I'm saying? Like, these little hack tricks are not speaking to the bigger picture, to your point. For the past 2 years, you've had unemployability, you've had social impairment, etc. You know what I mean? Like, even TDIU, that might be an argument if you don't go that. So if you go TDIU, they may even potentially look at either the increase or giving you the 100% based on unemployability. So I would look at both of those things as well, for sure. Our brother Kabiho is asking if I speak Portuguese. I do not. I understand a little bit of Portuguese, but I'm also, again, I was around, some Brazilian folks. I am Spanish, Latin rather, so I speak Spanish. So some of the basics kind of really correlate over. But no, I don't speak Portuguese, but know a lot of Brazilian folks. And early on in high school, actually, I studied capoeira. So, I never got to go to Brazil, but I was around a lot of it. So I'm, I have a sensitivity towards Portuguese because of that. Hablo español, pero el portugués lo aprendí en parte por la educación en capoeira. I'm 70% PTSD, TDIU, PNT, and I miss a mental health appointment. Will they reduce me? No. Again, mental appointment for like regular care or for like a CMP exam. If you're TDIU, they're not examining you. So no, that's not how that works. Missing an appointment, you're not being rated based off appointment. So healthcare and disabilities are two different things. Good question, though. Good question. Okay, where in Brazil are you located? Where in Brazil? I have friends from Sao Paulo. Yeah. One day I'll go to Brazil. One day. But no under reduction. Dun 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 dun. But keep me posted, Angel. Like I said, reach out. Check the link in bio. Come to one of the classes. Reach out. To have a conversation with my advisors for sure. Never hurts to get more perspective. That's one of the biggest things. I like options. Dun, 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 dun. So for that, they're gonna do more diagnostic tests. So those are specialized tests. For those specialized tests, it's not like you're gonna go there and you're gonna see what you got, right? Like they would do some specialized tests, very similar to like COPD, like sleep apnea, things like that, just to see kind of what the impairment level is. And then based off the readings, etc., they'll go from there. So, and then it's overall reviewing what you have. Do you have to go to psychotherapy if we get approved for disability? No. You can choose to not go, you choose not to go to that therapy if you don't want to. Just waiting my ratings right now. Okay. Rio de Janeiro. Awesome. Rio de Janeiro. Very cool. Very cool. I like it. Waiting on ratings, check. You don't have to go to psychotherapy if you get rated. That's also not true. Some people choose to not go to that. Because again, it's not one thing's depend on the other, right? Healthcare and disability are two different things. But it's a good question though, but no. There's many reasons why a veteran may not choose to go to therapy at the VA or somewhere else. Change of doctors, providers, not wanting to be a number, not feeling comfortable, distance, location, right? There's so many reasons why the impairment is still the impairment, right? So the rating is not contingent on you, doing a thing. Exam is going to connect my sleep to anxiety. Would that be? No. No. No, because that's also just, again, how are they going to rate the sleepwalking piece? But that's not just going to give you 100 on its own. The anxiety itself, is going to be increased? It's a symptom conversation. The sleepwalking alone, again, is a different thing. Let us see. Let's see. Facebook crew, nothing on that side, so no problemo. Let's see. Okay, I think that's most of the questions. Hung out for a little bit here, so that's good. Would it help to bring your spouse if they knew you before and after? It can, but again, I'm gonna cover this on Wednesday night. My thing there for sure. 47, Angel, for the session. 47. So. Shout out to Angel, man. That's awesome. See, little things like that go a long way. So I like that. I like that. Being able to sponsor someone who can't afford or make it to an ACCMP session. So paying it forward. That is possible. Yes. Let's see. But as far as bringing someone, I'm okay with that. My problem is more, and I unpacked this in class, but it's like we need to understand that we have to open Pandora's box. If there are things you're going to hold back that you can't speak to because your spouse is there, then they maybe can wait outside until until you're done speaking to things, then they can come in. So you have to make sure, ask the examiner if that's okay. But again, maybe your disabilities or your issues or your mental health condition makes it to where maybe you are being unfaithful. Maybe you are doing drugs. Maybe you are doing things that your spouse doesn't know about. Those are the actual things that are gross impairment. Let's say if like mental health that really you're not going to talk about maybe to anyone, or you're taking it to your grave. You want to get properly rated, you got to open Pandora's box. Maybe some things they may not want to listen to or should be listening to or hearing. So, there's context there for sure. A buddy statement helps and all that. But my biggest thing is I don't want the spouse to take away from the argument, because sometimes a veteran thinks, hey, this is going to give character reference. But if anything, you're not really talking about how really messed up you are because someone is there. So you can bring someone, have them wait outside, obviously, speak to your piece, and then bring them in. Ask, of course, but it helps. I just don't want it to hinder you for sure. Awesome. Alrighty, so this is one of the benefits of YouTube. So we have a super chat donation that was just made by Angel. So if you are someone who'd like to come to our ACE Your CMP session, send me a DM, because we have a sponsored session that Angel has paid forward. So shout out to our brother Angel, who has sponsored someone. So if you're someone who'd like to attend the ACE Your CMP class this coming Wednesday, send me a direct message. We have one sponsor, so I'll make sure that you can take that spot that was gifted by Angel. Like little things like that. That's what it's all about. Like, that is dope. Shout out to Angel. Where is my little soundy thing? Bum 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 bum. Give him a little applause, because that is awesome. He gets also a DJ horn, because that is dope. I like it. I love it. We want some more of it. Talk about paying it forward. I love it. So little things like that, you know what I mean? Like that's where I like, I mean, I like that because it speaks volumes to the fact that, hey, someone else for sure that is going to be helpful. That's going to be, a thing. And shout out to Angel on YouTube for that support. So, yep, that's, it'll help somebody for sure. And I love it. So if you are in that category and that's something that you'd like to take advantage of, we have that now. So look at that. Look at that. That's this Wednesday, Ace Your CMP. That's coming up this Wednesday. So send me a message. Let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in. Trying to hopefully identify someone that for sure may not have the means, to cover things, but we can definitely square you away with that sponsored seat. So shout out to Angel. That was pretty dope. Little things like that go a long way. This was the message he sent. I'd like to sponsor a fellow veteran who doesn't have the means at this time. How much a session? Can I make the contribution on this cash link? And now because we have the ability to do that on YouTube, that was gifted. So that came over as a super chat. So look at that. I like it. That is dope. Bum, 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 bum. Look at us. Look at us making connections and helping out vets. That is what it's all about. Little things like that go a long way. You know what I mean? But that's also, one of the things where like, hey, you pay it forward, right? Again, little things, they go a long way. Because, there are some people, like, and again, we'll support and we'll sometimes sponsor and do things, but I like that. That's how we start a good momentum of things. Yes. Bum, 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 bum. But yeah, Angel, keep me posted. Like I said, for sure, send me a message, link my bio and stuff like that. But yeah. I think, but for you, for sure, I think TDIU and potentially increase might be definitely a play. But I'll try to get you connected with some resources there too, as you do what you are doing for your own care. I heard sometimes the VA will do a Zoom call for CMP. It's true. Yeah. There's different types of CMPs, in-person exams, telehealth virtual exams. So like a Zoom session like this will happen. So yeah, that's possible. Chad, good point, good question. Yep, the VA will do that. But that is very cool. But it throws you off. The one that actually will throw you off is if they do an ACE exam where they tell you basically we're not going to bring you in, but we're going to actually just examine you based off the records. An administrative review, that one throws you off because they won't call you or bring you in for that at all. It just becomes them going over your records. Alrighty. I think that is most of that. Let me see. So we have some folks on X, but I don't ever know if on the X part is if the chats come through. So I'm always curious to find out if that actually makes its way over. So if you're on X watching, let me know because I'd be curious to, let me actually do a test of my own because it should pop up. Okay, it does work. For some reason, I just thought it wasn't. Like sometimes I can see people are watching, but I won't see the messages. So it does work on X. Hence, obviously, the test I just did. So I just wanted to make sure because I'm like, crap, I'm over here freaking talking and people on X didn't even see this. Ugh. They're like, we asked the question and you didn't answer it. I didn't see it come over. But yeah, I can actually I can't pull messages from TikTok, but I can pull messages from X and all the other places. So, okay, so we're good there. For a minute there, I just had a whole little mini heart attack. Like, oh crap, I've completely neglected the X side of the house. But alrighty. Let's see. El Machio, appreciate you, my brother, for the likes and the shares. Always appreciate the support. My good man. Okay, let's see. But yeah, so I think that is most of the questions. Nothing came on the Facebook group, so that's fine. But to the TikTok group, appreciate y'all for hanging out. YouTube group, appreciate y'all for hanging out. Instagram group, Facebook group, Twitter X group as well. A la orden, nada. That's what we're here for. So this Wednesday, we're back at it. Stay tuned this weekend. I'll try to post some things as we do stuff with Rolling Thunder. So I'm looking forward to that. And let's see. Yep, Wednesday we do that whole thing. But yeah, appreciate y'all. A la orden como siempre. Gracias por pasar un tiempo con nosotros. Aquí hablando de VA claims. Un tópico bien deprimido, pero hay que hacerlo de una manera u otra. I appreciate y'all, and we'll be talking again soon. Have a great night. Be safe out there. And it's November. Open your intent to file. The year is ending. Don't let this year end without filing that claim. You have no excuse. You have resources. Reach out to us. Come to our website, veteransnetwork.club.